Hi, welcome to Haven. This is a podcast that's a safe space for curiosity and conversation. I'm your host, Haven, and today I'm curious about how we find what we're looking for. You find what you're looking for, which is the basic kind of concept of once you start thinking about something, how you see it everywhere and how that comes up in our lives, like positive, negative, and everything in between. And so I have a guest today that is my very special friend, Ava.
Hey.
Welcome.
I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
We are mom friends.
Yes.
Because our daughters are about the same age. They go to gymnastics together.
Yep.
But we have a lot of other things in common where we go to church together in Los Angeles. And I'm also a renowned dancer and choreographer. Okay, maybe not that one.
Right. Yes.
But other than that.
But we got other things in common.
Yeah, outside of that. Yeah. So what made me think about this was, I don't know how it came up, but I just remember when I was allowed to shave my legs.
Yes.
It was about 4th grade, and I had never thought about it before. And then one of my girlfriends, I think, commented on my leg hair or something like that. I never noticed. Like, if you've seen these eyebrows, like, it's just thick.
They're great eyebrows.
Thick
eyebrows are in.
Yes.
So that's,
It's the perk of, like, hair.
Okay.
But I remember being in 4th grade being like, wait, does everyone shave their legs? Like, what are you talking about? And then I just noticed. Oh, yeah. And it felt like everyone was.
Yeah.
And I remember being shocked and telling my mom, and she's like, well, okay, like if you want to shave your legs, like let's use Nair. She didn't want me to use a razor.
Yes. Also very popular then.
It was very popular. Yeah. And then did your mom lie to you and say that no one shaves above the knee?
No, but I had a friend tell me that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was a weird thing.
Yeah.
And I really believed her. And then it's not true. People shave above the knee, lady.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe she didn't, but I just remember being like, I feel like you lied to me.
Okay.
But once I noticed it, I couldn't unnotice who had shaved their legs or not. And then I remember that happening again when I was about to get engaged. I in my life have never noticed engagement rings.
Oh, saw them everywhere, didn't you? You're just like...
Everywhere. And then you're like, wow, that's an interesting cut, or like, that's a new take, or how did you afford that?
Right.
Is that real? Wow, that's impressive. Or you just see it everywhere. Even now, like now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. And I was like, oh, you have 2 different types of gold on your wedding ring now that I'm enlightened to the world of engagement rings. But I think that topic is everywhere, where it's like, okay, whether you're looking for a car, you see it everywhere.
That happened to me.
Yeah.
I recently bought a new car, and it's pretty distinct. It's like black on black. Like just it's blacked out, everything. And I had not seen it before. And now I see it all the time. I'm like, that's a blacked out one too. And I'm like, yeah. But I hadn't seen it before.
No.
So now I see it. I'm like, it's not as uncommon as I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, but before it really felt uncommon.
It did, yep.
And then at first I was looking and I was like, is it self-fulfilling prophecy? You know, like, is that what it means of that kind of term? And so I looked it up, and it was saying that's an expectation or belief that can influence your behaviors, thus causing the belief to be true, known as the Pygmalion effect. Is that your belief about what will happen drives the actions that make the outcome ultimately come to pass.
Okay.
But I don't think it's that.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little different.
So then I was looking more, and it was basically like a parallel or an adjacent concept to that is confirmation bias.
Okay.
Where it's the tendency of people's minds to seek out information that supports the view they already hold. Yes. It also leads people to interpret evidence in ways that support their pre-existing beliefs, expectations, or hypothesis. Okay. And I was like, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think it's it. And I think I've seen it outside of just like material things. I think I've seen it in even scenarios of like people can have the same thing happen to them and interpret it entirely different.
Absolutely. Because like I have a scenario, well, not scenario, it's a story of I was on a job, and there was a lot of different people on this job, and everyone's experience was all different. Where my experience, and the majority, was like really great. But then you talk to somebody else and it was like really bad experience.
Really? Okay.
And you're like, how?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was the same stimulus.
Yeah, same.
Different interpretation. So your job, was it a dancing job or a choreography job?
Both.
Both. Okay.
I was choreographing, but I was also dancing. So, and then if you talk to a majority of the dancers, it was a good experience. And you're like, oh, all these great things. And then you have the few people who are like, this was not right and this is not right. And you're like, oh, interesting. That you can be living in a luxury apartment, but the windows are dirty.
Yes.
And you're like, you're in a luxury apartment, but you said, and the windows are dirty. So it's like, I feel like you're looking for something to complain about versus enjoying what is actually a, I don't know, blessing or like a good thing, or being gracious rather, you know? I think it's what you're looking for that can impact or influence your experience.
I think it's so much is mental.
Yeah.
Like, especially in your scenario, of all the dancers had the same experience.
Yeah.
But then like the takeaways were just right by their own impression. And I think it's done in multiple scenarios where like likely that person who had a bad experience there, you look at the pattern and the past is probably colored that way too, or that's how they would describe the narrative or paint the picture of other things that have happened to them too.
Yeah.
Where someone who maybe has more of a resiliency kind of mindset just kind of breezes through it.
Yes. Yeah.
It reminds me of Isley's birthday party last month where, so she was turning 4 and the theme was like, we called it mystery flavor because she couldn't decide.
I loved it. Yes.
It was, at first it was bluey.
Yes.
Because like big
got
bluey
sprinkles
fan.
of bluey in there. I saw it. Yep.
Yeah, it showed up in the games.
Yep.
And then she wanted princesses.
Love it.
And then I was like, okay, we can't do bluey princess. That's really hard. Then I was like, and then she wanted unicorns. And I was like, we're just going to sprinkle it all around.
Yeah.
So it was this whole kind of hodgepodge thing. I had kind of given her the idea of like, this is our theme. It's a little bit of all your favorite stuff. The day before, it called for rain, like 75% chance of rain. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to have to pivot or reschedule because it was outside. This is another problem is I opened it up to all of her friends and their siblings. And I wasn't thinking about that because I thought, it's just so much easier to bring siblings. And then by the end, it was like 75 RSVPs, adult and children.
Yes, lots of
because
kids.
also only one person was out of town. Everyone else said yes. So I was like, okay, we can't go indoors. It's outside of the park or nothing. And then we were trying to mentally prepare her for the rain. We were like, hey, tomorrow it might be rain. So if that's the case, like we're going to have to move it. And then she just kind of thought and she was like, oh, I have an idea.
I love her brain.
Her brain's the
best. It's really good.
She goes, what if we make it a rain party?
Solution.
Like adding to the theme. We're already adding her favorite things. So then we were like, some mommies and daddies maybe don't want their kids to get wet. Like, I don't think I would mind because I'm a cool mom. But I was like, some mommies and daddies maybe just don't want to go out in the rain. She goes, well, I have an idea. What if we get a tent? I was thinking,
based. I love this.
So solution based, so good. And I was like, well, another good idea. I was like, but with rain, sometimes it's cold. Yeah. And, we don't want anyone getting sick. Yeah. And this is where she like had her idea as a 3-year-old. She goes, what if we bring a jacket? And then any kid that's cold can wear the jacket.
I love it.
Yeah, there was no going around it. And I just was like, we're not going to get anywhere here. So I was like, okay, we'll just see how it is the day.
Yes. Yeah.
Fast forward the next day and it didn't rain. It didn't call for it. I was like, we're having the party. But then near the end,
it started to drizzle.
It did start to drizzle. I mean, you and Brooklyn were there. And then for about 10 minutes and I thought, at least we had the party. Yeah. She comes up to me beaming. Oh, Mom. Oh, I forgot to add this part. She also at school on Friday told all the kids at school, I'm having a rain party.
So she got her rain party.
She got her rain party. She comes up beaming and she goes, Mom, I got my rain party. Oh,
I just love that.
So it was like the same stimulus.
Win. Yeah.
And I was telling my friend about this and I was like, she was saying, oh, my mom would have been like, well, of course it rained on the one day I plan a party. Right. Or of course this would happen to me. It's ruined. She was like, and would view it that way versus Isley, who's like solution oriented. Yeah. Makes it a theme, like goes with it and is resistance. Like, I think I wonder how much of it is also just resistance to what is that then kind of goes and you just focus on the stuff that you're resisting against versus kind of accepting it as a whole.
That's a good point.
Twist.
Yeah.
Wasn't in our notes. Just came up with that
but
one.
I really like that off the cuff. No, that's good. I wonder if this falls under a same thing we're talking about. So I would get my hair braided, and the girl who braids my hair, she braids really fast. And then at the end, she cuts like any frayed ends, and she like cuts really fast. And every time I'd be like, I wonder if she's ever cut a braid. When I say every time, I think this. So I would say about 4 years she did my hair. Cut. She's like cutting, and she cuts my braid. And I was like, did I will this? Like, and she's like, I've never done this. And I'm like, because I think about it every time. And I'm like, maybe I thought it up. I don't know. Is it the same thing or no?
I think it is. I think there's something to it, because I think it's like that old saying of, if you're riding a bike, instead of saying like, don't hit the tree, all you're going to see and think about is the tree. Instead, it's using the verbiage of look for the open road.
Right.
Like look for the open road.
Yeah.
Because there is that weird, maybe that is more the self-fulfilling prophecy of like what we thought before.
Right.
The same kind of vein. A little different.
Yeah.
But I also think there's power in our words.
Yes. Very much so.
So I think there maybe is some type of like power or word or energy. And that, it makes me think of another, all of my stories are my kids right now, as you know, like it's easy to pull that together. But it made me think of, I was going to pick her up from school, and I had seen on a little app that she hadn't taken a nap that day. And I was thinking, I was about to go and say like, what's up? No nap girl, but I was like, I haven't seen her all day.
Yeah.
I don't want to greet her that way.
Okay. Yeah.
They had also posted a picture that she had done the monkey bars. So I wanted to say like, okay, I'm going to say like, what's up, monkey bar girls? Yeah. And then I was like, no, I want to speak life into her.
Okay.
And I was like, what's up, brave monkey bar girls? I saw a picture of you on the jungle gym. But it's kind of pivoting where I could have focused on, you didn't have a nap today. This is going to suck at 6 p.m. And it is your choice, you know? Or she also hung on the monkey bars that day.
Yeah.
Like, which one am I going to focus on?
Yeah.
Which one she's going to think that I'm going to notice about her in the future is like, oh, my mom's going to know if I didn't do something or did do something, or I don't know. I think there's so much too in what we call out in others or call out in ourselves.
Yeah. It is character based. I feel like your mentality, I think, drives this subject that we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like you can either think very positively about most things, or you think on the negative side of things, pessimist, optimist. And I think that will definitely influence the things you see or the actions you take. To that point, I have a friend, or not a friend, an acquaintance, and I feel like she often will take an experience, and what she's trying to share positively ends up coming out negatively. And I mean, this is all the time. So, for instance, she'll be like, bought a new house, got a new car. But instead of saying, proud of myself, bought a new house, got a new car, it's, oh, y'all thought I couldn't do it. Here I am doing it. I got a new car and a new house. And you're like, nobody didn't want you to do it. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just, I wonder why it always comes out like that. And I have not been able to figure out what her disposition is, but in anything, it is always like to my haters, basically, trying to prove somebody wrong, upping yourself by proving somebody wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you need to do that, but that is her stance. So I feel like, that.
It's interesting because it sounds like on the defense.
Yeah.
And you're like, who's the offense?
Right. Who's she talking to?
Right.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how like our past maybe informs that. Like maybe growing up, like that was a survival thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to use my haters to make me like motivated, you know? But it sounds like that really worked for her at some point. But then I think it's going to cause like disconnect from people, because maybe that's even disconnected from reality, or it is reality and she has a couple haters, but
maybe
you find what you're looking for. If you look for haters, you're going to find them everywhere.
That's what I was going to say, because either they're not there, or she thinks that like that's just where she operates from. So she's operating from that. I've got haters. Prove my haters wrong mentality.
Yeah.
So,
And then that's what you're going to see instead of saying like, oh, I have friends who support me.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for supporting me. I made it.
Even if you only have 2 friends, like if you focus on the 2, that would grow. But I think there's another side to this too, where I think the danger is if you only focus on the good, then it gets into like delulu. Yeah. You know, like then you get like toxic positivity.
Where
everything's great.
Yeah. I'm sure we all have those friends.
Oh, they're hard.
I do. Yeah.
They're hard to share stuff with.
Yeah. You can't ever actually feel any other emotion than joy, gratitude, and thankfulness. I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, where everything is spun as a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where like everything is good for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything will work for your favor, but you're like, but right now it sucks.
Right now, yeah. Not happy about it.
No. And I think it's a beautiful thing to come to on the other side. I think it gets toxic when you bypass the reality.
Yeah. Yes.
Like I do think it's great to end in gratitude. I think though when you jump over, then it's actually not even real gratitude.
It's delusion.
It's delusion because it's not actually seeing it. Or one time we had a caretaker who was giving something to Isley. It was super sweet. And it was like something from their purse. And Isley was disappointed by the color or something. And again, perspective, I could have been like, they gave you a gift. That's kind of bratty. You know, like I want you to be grateful. But it was, the person was like, oh, well, what about this or this? And trying to like make it like, well, that's good that it's this color because then we can color this. So I came in and I was like, oh, like, are you disappointed it was a different color?
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. And she was like, yes. And she started crying. And then on the other side, she was okay with it.
Yeah.
But, and the person who's so lovely, one, they gave her a gift. So nice. But they also had a very intense upbringing where I think they had to see the good to survive.
Yes.
Like, and I can completely understand. And I think it's like a really beautiful way to see it. I would prefer to be on that side. But then sometimes you miss the thing in the middle, which is reality.
And also you'll end up missing connection with people when you aren't able to see past just the good, you know, because I too have a friend like that and very hard to talk to sometimes because you have to either edit yourself or you're like, maybe I just can't talk to them about this because I'm really bummed out right now. And all I'm going to get from them is, but you should be grateful or, but it's fine because da-da-da. And you're like, it will be fine, but let me deal with this here first, you know? So, yeah.
Isn't it crazy? It can be on either side and it's difficult to connect. Yeah. Like they can be too negative and you're just positive. Like, this is a downer or too positive. Yeah. What do you think someone can do if they feel like they're on either polar end, you know? Ooh. Like if someone's like, well, I'm negatively bent, but I have no idea how to get out of that. Like that is what I see. Like what would they even do practically?
I'm like, find Jesus.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. Find a hope.
Find hope. Yeah.
It's easier said than done because it's like you can give these little, you know, throwaway comments of like, well, instead of saying I'm sorry, say thank you for being patient. You know, instead of saying I'm sorry, I'm like thank you for being patient, or you know, like those little language ones. But I think you're actually onto something of if you don't feel like you're anchored to something bigger than yourself or hopeful, then it would be really hard to mentally change your paradigms and to kind of just switch.
Now a quick pause to hear from my sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Efficientaid. Efficientaid offers fractional virtual assistants whose sole purpose is to help people who are making a difference. Are you bogged down in your email and still managing your own calendar? Delegating those tasks to a high-caliber career assistant can free you up to utilize your time towards the areas of your best and highest use, allowing you to focus on the areas you truly thrive in. Learn more at efficientaid.com. That's efficientaide.com. Okay, back to the episode.
I remember one time I had a loved one who's going in therapy and we went like together to kind of support. And the therapist, it wasn't like faith-based at all, which is fine. There's a lot of wonderful therapists like that. But I remember just feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so much pressure on this one person to like learn these tools and learn these skills and to like absolutely work their brain. They kept saying like, you know, all of the stuff that they were working through in therapy, and it fell all on their shoulders. Where I think that's for me, again, like you and I share that in common, where so much of it is like, God, I don't want to be that way.
Yeah.
Like, can you help me? And whether it's like a piece of scripture that you're thinking over and over, or if you're not a person of faith, maybe some type of positive mantra of this is what I'm like going to be saying over and over, to then kind of, you know, like the metaphor of the bike, like don't look at the tree. Like, I'm not going to be negative. It's look at the open road, or how to try and think of maybe if a negative thought comes up, be like, well, think of someone who's genuinely positive, not toxically positive, and be like, well, what would they say about this?
Yeah.
Like, if you can't tap into it, maybe tap into someone and be like, what would they say if it was raining on a birthday party? You know?
Yeah.
Like, if my bent is this ruins everything, of course it happened.
Right.
What would a 4-year-old Isley be like? Or, you know?
Yes.
Like, how would they see this? And then maybe, just maybe, could I see it that way too?
Yeah. I think if you frame your mind differently, that it can also change how you see things. So for instance, you know, if I feel I'm overweight, I'm like, you know, nothing fits, everything's blah, blah, blah. But then I go, you know what? I'm just going to accept and thank my body. And then I'm not lying. I see people and I'm inspired by them, because I'm like, I'll see people who are like heavier set and they wear crop tops. And I'm like confidently wearing that crop top. And I'm like, you know what? I love that. And then you start to see that more, and then you start to accept it more and feel comfortable more. I think, changing my mindset, your mindset really helps with that.
I think it's so true. And I think even like you were saying, see it out there. It's like, what's your intake?
Yep.
Like, who are you following? What are you reading?
Right.
Like, what is filming and like filling your mind as being like, oh, this is how people are. This is what's happening. Like, maybe it's just a simple change of like muting, unfollowing.
Yep. Right.
You know, not looking at someone who's like going to then continually remind you of things like that.
Right.
And then trying to find something outside that's like, well, maybe I could borrow their confidence.
Yes.
You know, until I can get it. But that's so interesting, because even I was like, I want you for this topic, and because I was trying to explain it to you, you know. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you are like so steady and so solid and so calm, where like just I can't picture you rattled.
That's so funny.
I'm serious. Like, I could picture you, and you've done really incredible things in your life and work and just who you are. And like even your current job of traveling a lot, like I'm sure you have flight delays, but I was like, I feel like you just kind of hit things with reality and receive them. And then it doesn't end up negative though.
Actually, you're right. Yes.
How?
And it is actually been a skill I've acquired over the years, because I get anxious. I used to get anxious easily, or like get stressed out, but literally I go, stress does nothing. It benefits nothing. It is all unnecessary. So it's like, what's the solution? How can we handle it? And it's going to work out. That's really my mindset with
It's gonna
anything.
work out?
It's going to work out. It's going to work out. And however it happens, it's going to be fine. It's literally my disposition. That's,
Yeah. That might be a good mantra for someone. It's going to work out.
It's going to work out.
And however it happens, it's going to be fine.
My daughter used to say, happens is happens. And I was like, yes. So
That's
cute.
so cute.
Yep. Happens is happens. It's okay, Mom. Happens is happens.
Oh, can we talk about Brooklyn for a second?
Yes.
Your 4-year-old?
Yes.
I love Ava's daughter.
Yeah.
She's such a bold personality and such a tiny body.
Yeah.
Like,
she commands.
She
her
commands.
world.
So the girls do gymnastics, and you see a lot about a personality through that window, through that parent window.
Yeah, you don't have to hear anything. You see it.
Her hand is up whenever they like want to volunteer. Yep. If they choose anyone but her, it's and sometimes looks at you.
Yep. And I look through the window. I'm like, and she's like, okay, relax. You know,
okay, relax. But she is commander. She's a leader.
Yeah.
She's very good at what she does.
Yeah.
She's very good up there.
She's a perfectionist.
Yes,
she is.
She gets it right.
Yeah. I worry for her with that. And I see that in myself, because I still deal with it, you know, perfectionism, but she'll figure it out.
She'll figure it out and she'll see how you handle it.
It's so funny. We were, I was talking to another mom the other day, and my daughter's very bossy. She is, you know, assertive, but she's bossy. And I said, it'll suit her well in life, But at this age, it's going to get on her friends' nerves. She's going to annoy a lot of people because she's always trying to tell them what to do. And I'm like, she'll figure it out because she'll be like, she don't want to play with me. I'm like, well, she doesn't want to play with you. I was like, what do you do? I said, you just shrug and say, okay, I'll go play with somebody else. So I've had to teach her these things, but I'm like,
oh my gosh.
yeah.
Socializing big personalities.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. But I will say with a quiet introvert like Isley, I think it pairs well.
It does. But I will say, Isley, so Brooklyn is very like out. Like she wants to talk to you. She needs you to respond. If you don't respond, it's like, and Isley, sometimes, she's like, she don't want to say words. She doesn't want to say words. So
Brooklyn one time was like, does she speak?
Yeah. And so my daughter will call her like 10 times and I just won't say anything. She'll just be like, whatever. And I'm like, it's fine. Maybe she doesn't want to talk right now. And she's like, and she doesn't know what to do with that. But I'm like, you'll learn, girl.
That's probably why she likes Echo.
She's like, change my attention to Echo. Hey, Echo.
Those two people, they can hang together.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so true.
It's all learning curve.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But coming from a former bossy child, like, you gotta have followers.
Yes.
If you're gonna boss people, you gotta have boss someone around.
And I'm here for it. I'm like, but you just gotta learn along the way.
It's true. And how to be like a good, leader.
Yes.
Instead of just someone doing whatever you want.
Right.
Gosh, I love that about her.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love watching her.
Thank you.
But like speaking of kids, like even the things we're saying now of like saying, Brooklyn, like bossy leader, there. You say that and you love that about her. There's been times that it's been spoken over kids that like, is it the same words or just different inflections of like, oh, they're bossy or, like that, like you add like the light, the shadow side together into it. I think so much of it too is like what was spoken over you as a kid that you internalize that now it's like, that's how you see the world. It's like, like, well, I'm just, bossy or no, I have leadership skills.
Yes.
Yeah. Or like for Isley, it's like, yeah, she's, quiet and reserved. And I think there's a power to that because she's honoring herself.
She's patient. She's observant.
Yeah. But I think so many kids are like, well, I'm shy. I'm just shy.
Right. Yeah.
And they see it as that was spoken over them with a negative connotation. Yeah. And then that's what they see in themselves. So it's like, what do you look for? Yeah, it's as much as what you look for externally. It's like, what do you look for in yourself that you're seeing? Do I look for myself to confirm like, well, I'm just bossy.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Right.
And it's not like being like, oh, it's great. Everyone should accept it. Obviously, like work on stuff, but it's like, how are you speaking to yourself? Like, what are you looking for in yourself? Are you looking for the ways that you've shown up and done things? Or like what you were saying is like, it's going to work out. I do think that comes also from like a security and a trust in yourself that you're going to make good choices.
Yes. Well, I was just thinking about when I was a kid, I was often told I was selfish and even as an adult. And I actually don't take offense to it. They often called me the middle only child because I very much was like self-centered a bit, like, and not in a snarky or like mean way. It was just like, I knew what I wanted. I knew who I was and I operated in a space of like, you can join me if you want to, but you know what I mean? Yeah. So, as I got older, I think selfish just meant I was very independent and self-aware. And I learned how to grow out of being fully selfish because I also am a big giver, but I just am selfish with certain parts of me or like certain things, but I actually never took it as a negative thing.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
Well, no, I think it's interesting because that's one of the things I admire about you is like you do go for it and you do like take care of yourself. Like I can't do this. I can't make this. Yeah. I'm going to go for this. Like, and you go for what you want and where I feel like sometimes we as women apologize if it's going to inconvenience someone. Right. Or if it's, stepping outside of like the lines of like what was prescribed for us or whatever. But I feel like you're just like, I'm doing what I want to do. I'm going where I want to go and I'm called to what I'm called to do.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I've actually never really articulated that, but that I see that now. That resonates. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I see it.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
I see it as your friend.
Yeah.
Totally.
Thank
And I
you.
think that's something interesting, though, is sometimes some of the most obvious parts about us we think are so natural.
Right. Yeah.
Until someone says something.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I didn't see that in me. Yeah.
Yeah.
You brought up when you brought something to mind. I tell Brooklyn sometimes, but I probably should tell her more because I do tell her often she's bossy or, but I tell her sometimes, I love that about you. But just now, I should probably tell her more that I love that about her, that she's bossy and that she's assertive. But,
Yeah. I mean, because especially in little girls, like, again, if you say that to a boy, I don't think it hits the same negatively.
Yeah.
That I feel like people tend to use that about little girls where it's like, it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
You do need to temper it.
Yes.
You need to socialize it.
Yes, exactly. But no, I don't think she's offended ever. But I want to make sure she knows that's a good quality to have.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, this is fun.
Yeah.
I think we just kind of were wanting to explore and see where the reframing goes or what is it?
Yes.
It's not self-fulfilling prophecy
No,
necessarily.
Right.
Maybe it's confirmation bias, but I do think a lot of it is what you put your focus on.
Yes.
You see more.
Yes, I agree with that. Your mindset.
Yep. So a lot of it is about focus and like, what are you looking to see? And then it's going to just come up more.
What are you looking to see? Really what it is. Yeah.
And then you're going to see it. And then it's going to just come up more frequently. And I think it takes time. I don't think it's like an immediate thing.
What's that song? Accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative.
I like that.
Yeah.
I was going to join along, but I have a very bad singing voice.
But yes, that's what came to mind just now.
Yeah. I think it's great. And then I think it's also holding it, which is going to sound kind of like, balanced, but like, it's not all positive.
I was just about to say, we got to find that middle ground.
Find the middle ground where it's like acknowledging.
Yeah. Or choose one more often than the other.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really practical.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you, Ava, for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming 5 minutes because we're kind of neighbors.
Yeah. Literally 5 minutes away.
And our little matching sets.
I know. Who knew?
We were in the same wavelength.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in these weekly mini episodes. They're really fun.
Yes.
And this is a relationship series. I didn't mention that up front because this one's more about your relationship with like your mindset.
Yeah.
Mindset, yeah. Yourself, your mindset, and how that kind of colors everything there. But call to actions. I have a monthly newsletter now.
Oh.
Yes, I do. You can sign up at havenpod.com and you can get that and some extra little behind the scenes, some extra content there. Follow, subscribe on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Also, please review the podcast if you like it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That's just an easy one and it helps me, one, see like what's landing with you, but two, it gets more visibility for it. So that's really it. Thank you so much for joining us and I'll see you next time.